What's up, everybody? Welcome to Domain Sherpa. Today, we've got a Domain Sherpa Weekly where we bring on Joe Styler from GoDaddy to talk about the upcoming NamesCon Online auction taking place on Thursday, January 28th. There's a lot of fantastic domains in the auction, and we talk about a lot of them, as well as some other interesting things going on in the space and interesting things happening with GoDaddy Auctions. We also provide a special discount code for folks to join GoDaddy Auctions, which is provided below in the description or the comments. And we also reveal it on the show itself as something special for our audience. So definitely tune in, check it out, and let's go. What's up, Sherpa Network? Welcome to Domain Sherpa. My name is Jonathan Tenenbaum. I am your host and producer. Today, this is a Domain Sherpa Weekly. It's our weekly show that we're going to start running to provide updates on what's going on in the domain space with entrepreneurship, startups, crypto, anything digital asset related, because like we say here on Domain Sherpa, all roads lead to domains. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about the upcoming NamesCon Conference and the auction that we're going to be having at NamesCon, which we're all really, really excited about. So in order to help me with that, I got my man, Drew Rosner, who is the CEO of Media Options and of Domain Sherpa. So the man, the myth, the legend. And then also with us, we've got the one and only Joe Styler. So Joe is the product manager of the GoDaddy aftermarket. He is the man when it comes to all things at GoDaddy with regards to their aftermarket business, which if you don't know GoDaddy, you're not in domains. So, Joe, thank you so much for being here, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. I'm excited to be here and talk about the auctions.
Yeah, so one of the things too, I got to just about Joe that I got to mention, there's everybody knows Josh Reason, right? There's two guys in the domain space who have the coolest last names, in my opinion, right? So you got Josh Reason, which I'm still not clear if that's his real last name. And I think Joe Styler is like super cool, man. I think that's like, I'd pay for that last name, man. Like it was a premium domain name.
Yeah, it's funny, but you can't get it. So I can't get my first name or my last name. I have the combination.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I was able to I got my first name, last name, shortened spellings, all that kind of stuff. It was definitely, I can't get the last name though. Tenenbaum.com is on the, is one of those two cows, last name, vanity.
Email addresses. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So, it is what it is. But yeah, man. Well, look, welcome to the show. Happy to have you here. I mean, we're involved in so for folks who don't know, we've got the NamesCon Conference coming up. It's online. It starts on January 27th, which is this show is going to air. So this is Monday. So it's in 2 days it starts. So if you haven't signed up yet, I would definitely recommend getting to namescon.online, which is NAMESCON.online, ONLINE. And register for the event. It's going to be great. I mean, as folks who know, the NamesCon auction or the NamesCon conference is the #1 conference in the space. Used to have it in person back in the before time, at Las Vegas, and then yeah, exactly. And then they moved it to Austin for a year, and then they've gone virtual the last 2 years, and really looking forward to being able to see everybody in person again for sure. But one of the key things at these NamesCon events is the domain auction. And that is usually the marquee event. It's super exciting. It's, some of the best names available. In a lot of cases, names not available previously. So with the last 2 times we've done a virtual event and Domain Sherpa, we host what's known as the RedZone, which will basically be live with a bunch of domain experts, Sherpas, and industry titans during the course of the auction as the names are closing to give folks, sort of some sense of what's happening, kind of build some of the excitement and just have a lot of fun around that. So Joe, let's talk a little bit about, NamesCon in general, what you got going on as far as the conference and aside, we'll get into the auction in a minute, but otherwise, what are you excited about? What do you think people should be checking for?
The thing that I'm excited about is just networking. I think they did a good job, even though it's virtual, to make the tables accessible for everybody to just hang out and talk. And I think that's the best part of the conference. It's not quite the same as being in person for sure, but it does go a long way to be able to make people be able to introduce yourself to lots of people and meet people from all over. One of the cool things is they have a couple different tracks. So I really like to go into the Asia track at night, my time, because there's a lot of people that are really excited about domains. Might be the first time that they've attended a conference, and it's really cool. So make sure you check out the different tracks and go to networking tables. Just a shameless plug for us. We're doing a masterclass on buying all things expired domains, and it's going to be 10 different people that are presenting. I'm emceeing it, and we're going to talk about like everything soup to nuts about how you buy a name in the aftermarket on GoDaddy, and tips and tricks, best practices, everything you need to know on the expired domain name auction.
Oh, I love it, man. So when is that? When's that session?
That's the 28th.
Okay, cool. And so that's the same day as the actual auction itself, right? So it's so the 28th. Let's see, I'm looking at.
Pretty sure it's 28th. Might be 27th.
Well, yeah. So, and again, folks, get to, I mean, look, register for the whole event, check the agenda out. That's definitely one, what I think people need to understand too. I mean, and obviously expired auctions are near and dear to me. I mean, having run NameJet for, for several years. And I think that, with the GoDaddy expiry, I mean, that's a very healthy expiry stream with a lot of crazy good domains that go through. I mean, over, now there's a lot of activity and a lot of action, and it's, very popular, but, there's still a lot of really good buying opportunities in there. I mean, we talk about domain investing a lot, and, and we've been talking about domain investing a good bit. Even we've been in Clubhouse for the first time over the course of the last week or so, and you've got a lot of folks who are new to the space, and I think a big part of they're, trying to get educated, trying to understand what's what. And, and I think it's, one of the key things is for people to figure out, okay, how can I, and if I'm trying to buy low and sell high, where can I find those best buying opportunities? And they might be with hand registrations, but, the expiring auctions, really are going to provide probably some of the, and the drop auctions as well, are going to provide people with the best opportunities to get names that, prices that they're ultimately going to be able to sell them for more later. I mean, and it's been like that for forever. Right. So
if you're like a really brand new, fresh to death wannabe domain investor, and you don't have much capital to play with, but you want to start taking some shots, I would say GoDaddy Closeouts is unequivocally your best opportunity to find like good value purchase opportunities. Move slowly, do your due diligence, but there is nowhere else that you're going to find names that, by definition, somebody else in the past also put some value to, right? That's why they registered them. They subsequently were let to expire for whatever reason. Do your due diligence, use archive.org, look up what the history was, see what this used to be, how long was it registered, was this registered in 96 and it just dropped? Probably worth a couple of looks, because there's probably a reason it was registered in 96.
Yeah.
So, I think, the next step after that is then you're getting into sort of the marketplace auctions, you're getting into, NameJet, getting into, whatever other marketplaces are out there. There's always arbitrage opportunities in the listing marketplaces like Dan.com or Afternic, Sado. People list a name and it's just too cheap. I go through that DN Journal report every week, or I guess now it's I think every 2 weeks. And I sometimes, I'm looking through the names and I'm like, oh my God, somebody got that for that price. And it was just somebody owned a domain. They listed it Afternic, listed it Sado, listed it Dan, whatever their market of choice was. They just put a buy now price on it. They didn't know what it was worth. And boom, it was there for the taking, whoever moved fast. So, but yeah, if you're just starting out, I think that those closeout auctions are, it's a gold mine, but you gotta, like gold, you gotta dig through a lot of rock to find the shiny rock.
What's the, with that, especially for folks maybe who, who aren't super aware of all the marketplaces. I mean, NameJet, is a $69, $79 minimum for domains. So GoDaddy Closeout, what's like the cheapest you could get a name for in Closeout?
Well, I don't know if that's on purpose or not, but I just changed the price to $50, and that starts February 1st for the cheapest. That's the most expensive of the starting day. That's the most popular day. So like it goes through a regular 10-day auction, like an eBay style winner takes all auction, and then after that we have a Dutch auction. So it's a buy now reverse Dutch auction. So it starts at a high price 50, and then next it goes 40, then 30, then 11, then 5. So you can, if nobody buys it, get it for $5 at the end. And also, if you wait till the end, if you buy more than 5 names, you get a $5 discount. So you get $1 off each name, each group of 5.
Yeah.
So I think it's still a great opportunity. Like Drew said, the big thing is, making sure that you pick those right names. And that's some of the things that we're going to cover in the masterclass. The things that he brought up, archive.org, there's a tool on our website that shows you, like, you just click it and it'll bring up the archive for that name. It tells you the years that it was registered. It gives you a lot of that data that you have to mine through. So those are key things you really have to try and figure out if you're going to buy a name. What was it used for?
That's awesome.
And then,
but
wait,
that also,
where is that tool?
Okay, so you go into the domain details. So you click.
Yeah, I'm in it.
You click the name itself, right, and go to that bidding page. Go all the way to the bottom, and it'll have those tools. It'll have links to them. It'll show you Google
under resources.
Yep, all the way at the very bottom.
Product cat, sitemap, videos, corporate domains.
all right, while he looks for that, so that when you're buying a name,
show you.
Yeah, when we should probably do a screen share. I don't know how that shows up on the recording and stuff, but we can maybe add a graphic or something. But real quick, so the $5, does that include reg fee, or do you have to pay that on top of that?
No, you have to pay that on top. So your best chance is either to get the domain discount club, right? So then you pay $8 out the door, $8.43, I think it is, for a .com.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot better if you're going to buy more than a couple of names. It's worth doing that so that you're not paying $15, which is a
yeah. So talk to me about the discount club. What's that? How do you qualify? Like, do you pay an upfront fee?
Yeah, you pay an upfront fee. It's, if you have it already, your grandfather in $120. If not, it's $240 to buy new.
Okay.
So you're going to save about $8 on a name, give or take. It depends on the TLD. So if you're buying a decent amount of names on the auction, then it's going to pay for itself.
Sure.
Also, if you have Premier Services, you're going to get a discount. It's not going to be as hefty as the Domain Discount Club, but you'll still get a pretty good discount if you talk to your rep. So
Cool.
If you're buying in volume, it makes sense. You're going to get some kind of discount from us. We want to make sure, like, if you're buying more than 50, 60 names, you're going to get some kind of a discount if you use one of the options that we have.
Cool. So then, discount club, and
Mm-hmm.
then, auctions and closeouts. And like we said, we got the masterclass coming up at NamesCon. Check the agenda.
Right.
And, so for all folks that are getting into the space, it's like register for NamesCon. And we have no, by the way, just so the audience knows, we have no kickback or any affiliate deal with NamesCon or any of that kind of stuff. We're just get educated. And this is one of those things. And, and it also puts you in the room with, like, literally some of the best and brightest in the space. People who've been doing it forever. And one thing I think about the domain space that I think is awesome is just how collaborative and welcoming people are. So it's like, there's no shortage of people that
For the most part,
right?
Yeah, no doubt. But but there's a lot of people that are super happy to share and talk and give pointers and all that kind of stuff. So,
I mean, this show alone, right? I mean, we've got, I think, something like we've got over 4,000 videos in our archive, dating back 12 years ago or 11 years ago when Michael Seidler started this show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would argue that almost every single piece of domain name knowledge that is available for public consumption can be found in the archives of this show 100% for free, right?
Yeah.
Cost you nothing. Might take you a lifetime to
That's
get through that content, but we're also working on a solution to help you filter that this year.
Yeah, Muse.
We'll see how that comes out. Yeah, Muse.ai, full disclosure, it is a company I invested in, but I invested in them because I understood that they had the best solution I've ever seen or even knew was possible for filtering and searching video content so that you could search for any word. You could search for, I want to find that guy that was wearing a striped shirt. And image recognition, word recognition, color recognition, voice, sound, word, everything. So
Cool.
it's a really effective search tool, and we're hoping to get our archive content over to muse.ai so that people who come and are looking for a specific idea, a specific concept, a specific, a quote or a soundbite or some piece of content they want to share, whatever it might be, very easy to quickly, instantaneously find it, grab it, do whatever with it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So hopefully we're going to be able to implement that this year, but
yeah. Well, and you think about, podcasts in general are more popular than ever. And, it's great because, you look at how much content we have and, there's tons of podcasts and that kind of technology could be so useful as opposed to having to pour through hours and
Right.
hours of video to find the one, topic, issue, thing, like you said, quote. So yeah, super cool. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to getting that working on some of our content as well. So, all right. So
But the point
with
wasn't
that,
to push Muse. I was just trying to
no, but Muse is super
emphasize
cool.
that,
It's one of those things that people should know that's out there. It's coming. I think it's super
Totally.
interesting. I mean, we obviously know about it. We talk about it. You're involved in it, but it's just that's cool. We talk about cool shit here on Domain Sherpa. That's what we do. But anyway, where all roads lead to domains. But anyway, so with all that, so then cool. We got the NamesCon auction coming up. And that's again, like we said, that's the big marquee event. I'm actually wearing my shirt from
Nice.
from this was 2018, where we sold a whole bunch of names. I think was this where we sold leads.com, to Frank, and a lot of that kind of stuff. And that was an in-person, in the room. Liquor was flowing, people were eating and bidding, and
yeah, that was when Frank and I were competing to buy domainnames.com.
Yes.
We were bidding against each other, and then now you guys own it.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Oh, that's right.
How much will you guys sell it for?
I don't know. I can let you know. If email me, I'll give you the price.
Okay.
And that's right. So he wasn't
on
lead. I don't know if he was on leads. It was domain names. That was the big one.
Yeah, it was domain names, and leads.com sold. I know who that sold to, but I can't think about it. I don't know.
I can't disclose it, but
doesn't matter. We probably shouldn't even say it anyways.
But the
that was a great auction. There was a lot of big names that sold.
Yeah, and so our goal with the RedZone, and this is a good segue into that. Our goal with the RedZone is try to create, and get some of that momentum, some of that excitement, some of that again, that excitement, that vibe.
And analysis also, we're going to be bringing on various people from the industry with all different perspectives, big investors, small investors, side investors, full-time investors. And, just to get perspective and see what they like in the auction and see what they think it might be worth and see what they're bidding on or not bidding on. And it adds a new, it adds a good dynamic to the auction itself.
Yeah, because it's like you get the benefit
in the room and have that energy that you get in a live auction.
Yeah, exactly. You get some of the energy, but you get even more of the analysis and the insight in real time, which I think is a great benefit for folks when they're trying to figure out, like, okay, do I want to throw a bid on this thing? Because I mean, there's a lot of great inventory, and we're going to talk about that in a second. And a lot of good stuff at no reserve, and it just creates a lot of cool opportunity. I mean, you got so I think that with the RedZone, we did it last year. We've got even cooler stuff planned for this year. And like I said, we've got all sorts of Sherpas and industry experts that are going to be in there. Some folks that'll be bidding on some of the names. In full disclosure, Media Options, we have a handful of names in the auction ourselves. Bunch of good domains, so we won't go out of our way to promote those over others. If one comes up in conversation, we'll let you know if it's ours. But yeah, but we'll be buyers too on names that are not ours, because there are some really great names in there. So as far as timing, the auction, I believe it's 1:30 Eastern on Thursday the 28th, if I'm not mistaken. I think
that's correct.
Okay, good. Yeah, because it's in the calendar as like UTC time, So
no, it's I know the time because I've been loading the names in, making sure they're going the right time. So
actually, like 1:25 is the time, the actual start time. So it's going to be really cool. And with that, let's dive in a little bit and talk about some.
Joe, tell us what's the cadence going to be like. So last year, it was sort of all ending around the same time.
Yeah,
it's the bid in the last 5 minutes. It got extended for, I believe it was 5 or 10 minutes. What are we looking at this year?
It's going to be a little different. So we were trying something last year to see if we could build excitement around one ending time. That didn't quite work, right? We're trying to figure out stuff as we move online instead of live. And so this year, what we're doing is we're doing them in batches, small batches that end. So I think the first group ends around 10:40 Pacific time. So 10:40, 10:45, I'll tell you right now. 10:45. I want to give a little bit of buffer so that if they get in, they start talking, sessions run late, that you don't miss the auction, right? And then from there, it's going to be every 5 minutes all the way up until 12 p.m. Pacific time. So every 5 minutes, you're going to have another group of names that ends. We're looking at about 4 or 5 names per group. And we have about 120 names, give or take a couple, on the auction. And if, like you said, if the names go to auto extend, then there's going to be an extra 5 minutes that's added on. And what happens with that is that if somebody comes in in the last 5 minutes before the auction closes and outbids you, then the auction will auto extend so that you have a chance to rebid. So you don't just get sniped at the end.
Okay.
So if you are winning a bid and you get outbid at the last minute, then it'll auto extend 5 minutes from when you got outbid. And so that,
Cool.
that, you know, has the potential to go on. Last year, we didn't see tons of names get auto extended forever, which is good, you know, because we also thought about playing around with that time to make it a minute instead of 5 minutes, but they didn't drag on too long last time. It should be the same this time. You know, we'll keep an eye on that, but that's how it's gonna run.
Okay. Cool.
The other thing is, for your listeners, we're gonna give them not only I'm gonna give you a download that'll show you all the details. So it would be cool, maybe another month or so to bring me back on so I could talk to you guys about the auctions. Drew's trying to find where the archive link is. It's buried. It's not easy to find. We have a brand new redesign that we've been working on for search results. That's a lot better.
Cool.
And it'll give you that information right up front. Also, we're working on the back end to make sure that the back end functions faster and better. We're moving the servers to slowly over to AWS so they can scale, be elastic when there's demand. It's one of the main reasons why we changed the pricing on closeouts. We have too much demand, and we're just getting slammed, right, when names move to closeout. So we want to try and spread that demand. First part is pricing. Second part is changing the architecture around, and then opening up the API to everybody once we get that architecture across. So I think, you know, we have
There's
a lot of
folks that'll be excited about the API opening up. I know that people will be excited about that.
We have a lot of cool things that we want to do, right? So this will make things a lot easier for you to navigate through. And one of the problems that we have right now is that you have to click and then kind of drill down into that name to find what the reserve price ranges are, right? And that's really tedious. So that'll get changed too. That'll be like, it'll be really cool and give you a little tidbit for your followers. It's going to be this fly-in page that tells you all the details, and then it flies right out if you want, or you could place your bids. You could look at everything right from there, and then you don't have to leave your screen of where your results are, right? So that's awesome. Coming, but it's not going to be ready before the auction. So I'll send out a Excel spreadsheet that'll give your listeners the reserve ranges so they know what the names are, so they don't have to do all that extra work of digging into things.
Excellent. Cool.
So that should help. And then also you have to be a member on the auction. So GoDaddy Auctions right now requires a membership. That's something we're looking at because we want to see if we can get rid of that barrier. But the big thing is we want to make sure you're real and that your bids are legitimate. We want to make sure, you know, if you come to the auction, you feel like you're in there and you're having a fair shot against real people who are bidding the same amount of money as you are, right?
Sure.
We want to make it level. So that's why there's a membership requirement. I'm going to give a code to you guys. I'll say it now. It's GDNC for GoDaddy NamesCon 2021, GDNC. And that GDNC 2021 will give you a free auction membership for a year. So that way you can come and bid.
That's what's up. Awesome. Yeah. And we'll put that'll be below in the, you know, sort of the comments down by the comments piece about the show. And we'll also look to provide a link for that, the Excel sheet to give everybody the data. You know, it's funny. We were in this clubhouse room last night, and Bruce Bredger, who is, you know, we've done a lot of business with Bruce over the years, and he's super active in the NamesCon auctions. And he was talking about, reminding me in 2017, he won a name, homefinance.com, and he won it for $5,500, I believe. And he just recently sold it for $100,000.
Oh, that's great. He's a good guy.
Yeah, great dude. And but he was reminding me, he's like, you know, I needed my special number for my paddle. And I think it was like number 318 or something, which I think is his wedding day. You know, I got it for him, and he's, you know, and I'm like, where's my cut, man? I got you. Lucky.
That's right.
But the reason I bring it up, you know, aside from the fact that it just represents some, like, you know, kind of like a win that can happen through these types of events, right? But also, like, you know, we would print out the Excel sheets, and, you know, he was one of those guys who's like coming up to the table, man, where's my list? Where's my list? I want to do my research. I want to be ready to go, you know, and you know, with a real tactical way to approach it, you know, trying to grab whatever data points you could get, you know, so that's where having something like that Excel sheet, and obviously, you know, using it successfully. So it's like, you know, so no, that's a super helpful tool. You know, love the code, you know, the GDNC 2021. Is that what it is?
Yep. GDNC 2021.
I'm going to use it myself, man. Don't hate on me for it. But, you know, but I think that's an interesting point too. And that's what people don't realize. Like, yes, you know, they look at it all, you know, there's a fee and everything else, but, you know, if you're a serious bidder spending a little bit of money to be able to participate, and, you we dealt with challenges for years, with NameJet that, we'd have to filter out a lot of accounts that just get created for spam and other things. And it's like, there's, things that you can do to help to create a more, stable and, marketplace. I mean, all that stuff is super helpful, and the extra revenue doesn't hurt, but, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, it's also like, it's accountability for the participants. Let them know, look, if you're coming in and you're going to be throwing bids out, I mean, we would have a verification process, that we would use. And because, there's nothing worse than you get somebody bidding and they, they're not intending to pay, or, there's no accountability there. And then, it undermines the integrity of the whole platform. So, no, so
Right, which is a good segue.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Because the next and last housekeeping item is verified bidding, right? So we have a verified bidding process too. So if you've never bid with us before and you see some names that we're talking about that you want to buy, get in early, come to our site now, and go get verified. It's really easy. You could do it online. I'll give you the link so you can see how to do it. It takes 2 minutes.
We'll put the link too in down below. But also, just to give them a general sense, they go to GoDaddy.com. They click on domains and then click on more, and then to get to auctions. Or is there an easier way? Or just
the easiest way is just go to auctions.godaddy.com.
Okay.
You go to your account. Once you're logged in, you can verify bidding that way, or you could go to bid on a name and it'll just say, even without you finalizing the bid, it'll pop up a box that says, hey, you're not verified. Click here to get verified. Okay. And then you click that button and you get verified through PayPal. PayPal partners with us. They check, make sure you're a real person, that you have a bank account with them, real address, name. Then they said they don't give us any of that information. They just say yes or no, this guy's real or not. So if you don't have that, we make it easy too. Give us a call. Support's there 24/7. Ask for the auctions department. Tell them you want to get verified, or email auctions@godaddy.com. They'll follow up with you. That roots out most of the people. If you've already been bidding with us for any length of time and you have bid history with us, you're probably already auto verified. So you won't see that pop up. You'll just be able to bid. Again, like you said, it's just a way for us to figure out that you're legitimate. If we know you're legitimate, we're not going to make you go through any extra hoops.
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt. And so verification. So you need to be verified to participate. Period.
You need to be verified to bid over $1,500.
Okay, so that's the threshold.
One bid or any combination of bids.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, that makes sense. So verification, if you want to bid over 1,500, the relevant links, just to repeat them, although we'll post them and everything, but it's auctions.godaddy.com. Again, that's auctions.godaddy.com. And if you need help, it's auctions@godaddy.com to reach that group via email. And and then there you'll see the banner. Once you go to auctions.godaddy.com, you'll see the banner for the NamesCon auction. You click bid now, and then that pulls up the list of names, and you'll see, if you go there today, you'll see the activity and everything else. When we're looking at it at the moment, in fact, so this I think is also another good segue. And I didn't know you guys were doing the verification piece, so that's really cool. And I think that's and I think the auto verification is cool too, when you've got somebody who has bid and payment history and everything else, like doing it through PayPal and just trying to make it as easy as possible for everybody. I mean, you've been working, Joe, man. You're not playing, man. You're doing a lot of stuff over there, bro.
Yeah, we really want to revamp the auctions. We're putting a lot of time and effort into it this year. They put me in charge of redoing it. So we're gonna be doing it soup to nuts, like, not changing everything around and making it weird for people, but actually digging into the back end, right? Making sure that functions at optimum, speed, and that everything's easy for people, and then trying to get rid of a lot of the friction, right? Yeah. So we might, if things go right this year, if not next year, looking at giving the membership for auctions, right? And just finding other ways to verify people so that there's not that friction. The listing friction, getting rid of that. We have a lot of upsells, get rid of those upsells. Let's just get your names on the auction. Reserve price for your names, we charge for that. Why should we charge for that? So just try and get rid of a lot of that friction, make it easier, make the data that we have more available to people. So we've got a lot of data points that I was able to use to narrow down these names that we have. That we should be able to make available publicly, right? We have like expireddomains.net. If you don't know, that's a great resource to go through for expired names. They have tons of data points. We have at least that many, and we have more proprietary ones that we can show.
Expireddomains.net is yours?
No, I'm saying that
No,
that's
he's
a
saying
great
that the
third-party
data
tool
points are
to
similar.
use. Those data points. Yeah, those
Okay.
data points that they
I
have
thought
are
that for a
great. I'm
second
saying,
too. I'm like, man, you
no,
guys are making
I was
moves.
like,
no,
oh man, nice pickup. Because
we've
I've reached out to that guy. He doesn't want to sell,
no, we've got
but I don't
the
have
data.
GoDaddy money.
We've got the data points that they have. We just don't expose them publicly, right? And that's a
Yeah.
problem. So
Who
we need
needs the
to
cow if you're getting the milk for free?
expose those data points, not to take away from them. They're a great site, and I would
It is. It's a
definitely use
great
them
resource.
and do use them, right?
Yep,
Um,
100%.
But I'm just saying that we have to be smarter on our own auctions to make it easier for people to be able to bid. We have a lot of customers that come in that might not be as savvy as your listeners. That we need to be able to expose that data to, so we can help them make wise decisions when they purchase.
Yeah, no, hey, that's awesome. Well, and here's what I love: like everything you're talking about doing is you're talking about doing things to help make it easier for people to to come and participate and buy names and bid and everything else and more data and all this kind of stuff. Like well, even eliminating the membership fee, right? Those are things that and again, I keep saying it. Like I've run the platform, I know what that's like. And I know when you're trying to make those decisions and you're trying to help your customers and make overall improvements for their benefit, right? I mean, those aren't,
Right.
I mean, yeah, sure, more activity, make it easier, more activity, less friction, more more revenue because more sales, all that stuff. Everybody wins, right? But you're
Right.
really approaching it from the point of saying, look, I want to help the customer, right? Which I think is and for those of you who have never interacted with Joe before, just to be clear to the audience, I mean, Joe is one of those good guys who's such a nice dude. Obviously super smart guy, great guy that's super accessible. And, so when you do see him at the conferences and the tables and stuff like that, like, I don't want to inundate you with people all of a sudden coming up to you.
No,
And be
come
like,
and
man, I
talk
saw
to
you
us.
on that show. They were talking about how cool you are, but I gotta say it, man. I've always had a lot of respect for you and we've always had a good relationship, but you do, I mean, just hearing it here, it's really just, it's cool, man. It's a great approach. And I think, and I hope that the customers appreciate it, because it's really all for them at the end of the day. So, anyway.
Yeah, if we do it right,
Joe for the
hopefully
win.
it benefits
Yeah.
the whole industry,
Solidarity,
which is really
man.
what we want.
Solidarity.
So anyway, with all that said, man, all that hyped up stuff, but that's all good news. Let's talk about some of these specific names
Yeah.
in the auction. So, I just pulled up the list right now, sorted by bids. The number one so far bids is healthybite.com. So and like kind of like you were saying about the reserve. So it says the reserve's not met. And is there a way to see the reserve range? Like if I click on the item number,
Yeah, click on the item number.
Okay.
And it'll go to the details and it'll give you the reserve range in the comments.
Oh, okay. So in the comments.
And that's why I said it's a little bit hard to find. So I'll show you like on the Excel sheet that I send out to everybody, you can see.
Okay. I see reserve range.
Sheet.
Okay. I get it. All right. Reserve range is 1 to 5K. So that's cool. I like that name. It's got some people into it. Let's see. Do you have any particular ones that stand out to you that are really interesting? Or I mean, there's a lot of great names in here, but what are you excited about?
Well, I kind of split them up into different groups when I was looking at them, right? And first, just big picture, like Drew said, when you're looking at expired names, you're going through a lot of rocks before you get to the gold, right? We had, I don't know how many, it was more than 10,000 names submitted, and we have about 100 names that are on this, right? So we did all the digging for you, and we went through and tried to find good names. So these should be names that not only are decent names, but that have a reasonable price. Like there's still some meat on the bone here if you get to the reserve. So you have good opportunities no matter what. So I try to look at a bunch of names that were really accessible to people with no reserve, right? So we've got, 15, 20 names that have no reserve that are good names. Then there's a lot of names that you could just go and start a business on. There's a lot of customers that we have that come to us that are small businesses that want to start a business, or we have domain investors that I know of that run businesses, Drew Wash, Peter with Onions, Vidalia Onions, right? Ask you. Those guys, they're, so we've got names like that, like flooring contractor, and we have plumbingjobs.com. So, there's names like that. And there's also names that you could just start, like socialreputation.com, right? You could start a business on that, no problem. With social media like it is and doing reputation for the price that is, for you to get an exact match brand name, right? And start a business. That's really a no-brainer for somebody who's going to come in an SMB space for that. So, there's a ton of those types of names that we have where you could just start a business today, right? Or you could own that keyword in that space. And then there's some names that I think are really, just limited time that you're going to be able to get a chance to get a super good name like this. Like there's a combo donut and donuts.com, right, that are being sold. I think it's pretty reasonable. I know that they've been for sale before. This is the lowest price that I've seen them for sale at already. So I think that's a great deal. You're getting both those names. I did a little research before I accepted them, and saw that like even a small donut shop typically makes about 150 grand in profit, right? Net profit at the end of the year. The Krispy Kreme published something that said that the margin on their donuts is 70%. Coffee margin is 90%, right?
wow.
So when you're thinking about coffee and donuts, it's a huge margin, right? High profit business. Then that's even after all the waste of the donuts that you don't sell. So I think, if you're looking at something that's more than just a local shop and you've got a few shops around the country and you want to own that space, you have an opportunity to do that right now with Donut and Donuts, right? And, franchise opportunities. I mean, the sky's the limit with something like that. If a small shop's bringing in 150K, right? What's the opportunity for a mid to big shop, right? Even if you're Krispy Kreme, that's your brand, but why not own Donut and Donuts at this price? I mean, it's a no brainer. So you're probably not gonna get those at this price again, especially not as a combination. So that's great. Another one that I think is really kind of, a really good deal on the space right now is sportspicks.com.
Yeah, I was just looking at, it's funny. I was just looking at that one. I was looking at, it doesn't have the GoDaddy appraisal on there. Yeah, it looks like the reserve might be a little high, but the name is fantastic. And, I think that you got sports gambling that's like blowing up, they just, they've got it in Pennsylvania. I follow Barstool Sports too, and see a lot of what they're doing. And Michigan, that was the thing. They went live. They've been in Detroit like the last last week or whatever, hyping up everything they got going there. And I mean, you'll see, and then you got like 365 Bet and some other stuff there. I've seen ads lately with Jesse from Breaking Bad, and they're like big time talent in their marketing. And man, I mean, it's one of those things. Like, so that's exactly the name. It's funny that you brought that one up, because that's one I was just had on my screen as we're talking, and it's one of those names, dude, that there's no doubt you can build a whole big thing around that in a space that's really just going to continue to grow and thrive, because they're not going to outlaw sports betting in places where they have it. It's only going it's only going to get further along, right? So and it's you go where the cash is, right? So there's money in the picks, there's money in the in doing other services around the lines, and obviously just taking the bet. So yeah, man. So I agree. I think that's a great one as well. So, but
that's I think that's, you got your chance now. That's not going to last. It keeps growing. The space keeps growing. Somebody's going to come and pick it up, right? So this is your opportunity.
Yeah. No, I would agree. A couple of these that I'm looking at with the no reserves. See that I think this one's pretty cool. I like plumbing jobs.
Is there a way to filter for no reserve?
You can on the sheet I'll give you.
Okay.
Yeah, there's names that I'd like to bid on that, they're obviously not ours, but one of these is plumbing jobs at no reserve. Like, I mean,
oh, that's a great name.
Yeah.
Currently it's at 300, there's only a couple of bids so far, cause it's early, but that name's going to sell for thousands of dollars. But, if, you get in there while people are sleeping, you know what I mean?
Right.
And, that's a great one.
My personal favorite name, let's see, I don't know what the reserve is, but I like, well, let's see, I don't know where the reserve is going to fall. It's a big range, 100 to 500, but lump.com is an absolute beast of a domain. There is probably hundreds of billions of dollars industry around lump sum payments, like whether that's legal settlements, whether that's lottery settlements, but basically the lump sum settlement business is a big business, and it's consumer facing, and giving yourself a name like lump.com, it's like, that's a hell of a way to market yourself. Billboards, radio, television. I mean, that is lump.com in my mind is it's a sleeper because people probably go lump.com is like a speed bump or something, or you get a lump on the head, they're not thinking, but lump is a monster. That is a
no, I think if you can soften it a little bit, I think when I think lump, I think there's like breast cancer, there's negative connotations to that, right?
Yeah, okay, but
I think
yeah,
and I think you have a chance with that to get in there and own that for that purpose and shape it in that direction, right?
Yeah.
And, look, it's a 4-character word. You know what I mean? Like, and those that are like, boom, we we got swan.com, right? I mean, it's it's like, it's as good as, these are the best, literally some of the best domains in the world. They better ones don't exist, So,
yeah. And I tried to do my best to pick like reasonable priced names, right? So this is very much towards the lower end of that reserve range, right, for you to hit it. So, I think it's a really big opportunity, like Drew was saying, to own a space like that. For this price, one-word brandable names have gone up so much in the last few years, right? So to own a name like this at this price
with
is really an
4-letter
opportunity.
words leading that charge.
Right, exactly.
I mean, for us, I'm sure you guys see the same. I mean, if I were to take, the last 100 domain inquiry where somebody came in and said, look, we're looking for a name. Can you help us find a name? Or even if they came in saying, we want to buy this name, it's like probably 60 to 70% of those inquiries or acquisition requests are for we want a 4letter.com. Can we get a 4letter.com, for 100 grand? No, you can't.
Yeah, and that's it. It's gone up like through the roof. I still buy names for people. Same thing, acquisitions usually. It's all different people's, big companies, whatever. And I used to be able to tell them 5-10 years ago, well, you get whatever you want for 25, 50 grand, right? Like, why pay this guy $350,000 when you can get a better name for a one-word com now for 75, and you can't do that anymore. Right?
No.
4-letter, one-word brandable names, sky's the limit on some of these names. And a name like this to come in at, at this reserve price that we have it's an opportunity.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no,
I agree.
It's
a great name. What else do I love in here?
I stuck with mostly comms, so I'll say that, but I have picked a couple different ones that weren't. Like I said, I tried to go the gambit, give everybody an opportunity. But candy.net, you're probably not going to own candy.com, not anywhere near the price that candy.net's going for, right? So if you have a candy business and you need another name, you want a one-word category killer, you're not getting the com, it's taken, right? Everybody knows that. So you have an opportunity here with candy.net. One name that I think that I picked that I don't think a lot of people would know too much about unless they're in the space is weddingphotographer.com, right? The reserve range on this.
Tough business these days, but it'll come back.
But yeah, it's going to come back. Right, like crazy. And I know
it's like banquets.org,
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Hey, but listen,
right.
Your time to buy is when there's blood in the streets.
Exactly.
And there is blood in the streets
That's
in the banquet
opportunity.
business and in the wedding photography business.
So I think now is a chance to get a deal on it, right? And my wife was a professional photographer for, I don't know, 10 years, right? And the amount of money that they make on a wedding, on, just a normal wedding, is 5 figures, right? And a lot of these photographers run seminars, they have their own merchandise, they have classes. So for you to own that space as a wedding photographer, right? For this price, it's a no-brainer, right? So, I mean, it's a huge opportunity to own that category and on something that everybody knows is expensive.
Teleconferences.com.
Yeah.
Let's see, I don't know, what's the reserve on that one? I mean, that's obviously a hot thing that we go back to physical, that party is not over. That party is here to stay, right? That's
yeah, and that's
interesting.
That's one of the things.
And there's so many of these things. Sorry to interrupt, but it's just there's so many of these things now